Now it's time for another BCFC team preview. Today we take a look at the Okanagan Sun, the defending Cullen Cup champions, and the new first-year head coach is Ben MacAuley, and he's joining us via Skype from Kelowna. Ben, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me, Jim. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've just doubled our audience. Second of all, Ben, what's it like to be a first-year head coach at this level, stepping up from the high school level?
Well, it's a lot of differences, and football is football, but so far it's been nothing but the off-the-field stuff to work with. So, the big thing is, I could recruit before by going down the hallways and grabbing kids by the collar and pulling them aside and making them come play football. Now, the lockers or the hallways are much bigger and all the way across Canada, and so that part of it is a big step up. And phone bills have skyrocketed, and I've never been so proficient at texting in my life. So some of those minor changes, but also just the organizational part of it and setting schedules and things like that is one of the biggest changes.
How difficult of a decision was it for you to take this job? Because there are a number of things to balance. Of course, there's the day job. There's all the additional things that you wouldn't have as a high school coach. How much of a conversation was there in your household before you decided to make this move, and how did it come about?
Well, it's sort of an ongoing joke with my wife and I that everybody loves football in December and January, and then you forget how much it really soaks up your time as you get closer to the season. But it was definitely, it wasn't cut and dry. It's obviously a big challenge and new expectations, and you're kind of available 24/7 to whoever, not just to my own family. So that's a big change, and I wouldn't be able to do it without the support of my wife. We've got a young family, so it's important that we strike a balance there. And there's been some hiccups along the way, but just ironing those things out has been a bit of a challenge. But for me, career-wise, being in Kelowna, I can't imagine a better place to coach football, and it's kind of the ultimate job. And I see myself in the community for a long time, and I've got roots here, and I plan to be here, and I raised my family here. So if I can be in the perfect football position in my hometown, I can't imagine a better way to do it.
Well, you inherit a program that had a perfect record in the regular season last year in the BCFC, but I have to imagine watching the CIS recruiting wire, a lot of CIS teams came in and recruited a number of Okanagan Sun players in the off season. You have a significant rebuilding job to do to hit that level again. Tell me about the transition in your depth chart.
Yeah, certainly, that comes with the territory of having some success. You got more eyes on you, and guys are used to playing at a higher level and therefore more desirable at the CIS, on the CIS roster. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You want your guys to do well, but you want to hang on to them as long as you can to make your team successful. And it's kind of striking that balance of, when it's time to go. And, some guys are going a little sooner than I would like them, but it has to be what's right and fit for them. Career-wise, football-wise, education-wise, never want to hold a player back from, a chance to get his education paid for. So we're happy to see them go, and they still carry our logo with them. It's a badge of honor for us to have those guys moving forward, but it certainly does present challenges in reloading that roster. And we were a little bit behind the 8 ball in recruiting, getting a later start at the beginning of this year, and so doing some catch up. But there's we put in a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights and scouring film to find guys. So we've got a good group of returners as well, who are making it much easier for the new guys to come in. It's really the depth that's the big concern is having, not just our first strings, but, 2 or 3 deep behind so we can make those later playoff runs.
So tell me about what your approach has been to recruiting. You talked about the late start in recruiting. Did that put you behind the 8 ball at all when it came to reaching out outside of the Okanagan Valley to contact potential recruits? Because obviously having a perfect season last year is a pretty good calling card for your organization.
It is, yeah. And we went as far as Halifax, Halifax out east and Vancouver Island. So we're stretching coast to coast with our recruits. A few guys moved to town already, which is great. And the way it goes is, you get one guy and another follows. And, in that sense, and it's been good action in seeing some of those guys come from out east and start a bit of a pipeline. But, yes, there was the good record to kind of wear out there and say, hey, we're a successful program. But change is also a big part of it, and there's some uncertainty across our typical recruiting areas of what's happening here, who's the new guy, what's the program going to be like. So we've had to kind of put our own mark on the recruiting so far, and a different approach from the previous coaching staff in here, who did a great job, and it's just trying to skin that same cat in a different way. I have a different style, so we're going to have some differences in the type of guys we recruit. So you're looking for the best of the best, and you want to be the best program again. But it takes time to develop some of those relationships, and it's been a pretty arduous task, just even meeting new people in different parts of the country and starting those relationships on the right foot.
What did you like coming out of your spring camp, and what areas do you need to address on your depth chart coming out of spring camp?
Well, I really love the strength of our defense. We've got some fantastic returners. We get Lucas Machado back on the defensive line, who's huge for us, and Kent Lawrence. Connor Novak, Elias Rodriguez. We've got guys who are dominant up front, and then someone like Lane Hull, who was going to initially attend University of Regina, but has decided to come back as a linebacker for us. Huge experience, and we've got a few guys that were in the BC Lions camp who come back with a ton of experience, in Matt McConnell in the secondary, and Jamie Turek. As well as offensive line, we've got Mikel Vecchio, who had a really strong camp with the Lions, who's going to power our offensive line. I was also really impressed with the quarterbacks that we had in, losing both last year. We had a couple of CIS caliber guys, as well as a returning player step up big time, and I was really impressed with the depth that we're going to have this season on the quarterback depth chart.
When it comes to the annual question about the Okanagan Sun and potentially moving up with UBCO to the CIS, that seems to have cooled a little bit. Is that a good thing in terms of having the junior program get to focus on junior to shut out that outside chatter in your mind?
Yeah, totally. And we know as a staff and as a program that the UBCO talk is fantastic, but it also would mean a lot more change. And to see that that's either on the back burner or off in the future still gives us a chance to say, hey, we're going to be here for the next 3 to 5 years, possibly longer, before we're even talking about that again. It's a very political thing, as you can imagine. And for me, I've got enough political things to deal with. It's best to just focus on the football, and this allows me to do that without many distractions on that end.
Well, Ben, thanks very much. You inherit not only a great program up there, but a great junior football market with a whole lot of energy around it. I suspect it may be a whole lot of work, but it's probably going to be a whole lot of fun as well. We look forward to your season coming up.
Thanks, Jim. It's going to be a good one, and the league is as competitive as ever, and we're looking forward to it.